This is Unit 3, FRQ answer form for Form 3. Okay, let's look at the rubric here for Form 3. And on this first question, there's a study, and it was trying to connect potentially Alzheimer's disease and smoking. So Alzheimer's disease is kind of like dementia, but starts earlier, and it's just trying to see if there's an association between smoking. So notice it says the study finds a strong association between smoking and Alzheimer's, and it says it gave you what the article reported, and then it wants you to find the explanatory and the response variable. Now, give your person credit if they mention smoking. That's one point, if they mention smoking. But then they have to mention the degree of smoking. They can't just say smoking. That's not enough. So because what it's measuring, let's read in this very carefully. It says that the article reported a study tracked histories, men and women 23 years. The article said that those who smoked at least 2 packs of cigarette a day, the risk of developing Alzheimer's was 2.57 times the risk of who did not smoke at all. So if it's measuring, what it's saying is there's a strong association between smoking and Alzheimer's. So what it's saying is if they if they got Alzheimer's, that's the response variable. It is potentially because, or an association, the explanatory variable, because of the degree they smoked. No smoking or smoking high amounts of smoking. So makes sure 2 points on there. Same with the next one. Response variable, if they mention Alzheimer's, we're going to give them a point for recognizing that's the response variable. However, you can't just say Alzheimer's. It's just not Alzheimer's. You have to talk about the development of Alzheimer's. Did they develop it or not? All right. Part B, ask if it's an observational study or a treatment. You need to say observational study, and the reasoning because there is no treatment. And that's all you have to say. In, out, done with that one. Okay, and then exercise status was mentioned in the article as a possible confounding variable. Explain how exercise status could be a confounding variable in the study. So we're going to say exercise status, is related to whether, possibly is related. So you could also say, someone might say a healthy lifestyle. These two kind of go hand in hand, honestly. If they got one, they probably got the other. Because someone that exercises might be more health conscious, you're going to say that it's possibly related. So the big thing is that they need to say is that, so if they exercised, it might influence the response variable. So if it needs to build a connection. So basically what we're saying right now is we're saying that smoking, right, influences Alzheimer's. And now you're saying, well, actually, I've got another one here where I have exercise. And exercise might be related if I smoke or not. But then I said, this may influence the response variable if I exercise. This also might influence, I guess not arrows on both sides, but just on this side. If I exercise, I might not smoke. If I exercise, I might not develop Alzheimer's. So is it the no smoking that's causing the reduction in Alzheimer's? Or is it the exercise that's causing the no smoking and causing the reduction of Alzheimer's? And that's what's a confounding variable. So let's talk about points here and see how you can get your points. So remember, first of all, step one is really, again, these two probably are going to be, if you get one, you get the other, because what you're going to say is exercise is related to if they smoke or not, which means that then you're just bringing some sort of, I said more health conscious. You don't have to say that. You can come up with anything reasonable, as I said. And so you could, honestly, it's just like, you don't even, those two really go together. If you got the first one, you probably got the second one, because you need to say it's related potentially to the smoke. And then you need to say, but also exercise could be associated with the response variable, because that's what the definition of confounding variable is, that it could influence the response variable. And so we don't know if exercise or the smoking. So you just kind of need to make that conclusion. Guys, this could be implicit. Implicit means that it could be implied. I don't have to necessarily say boom, 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 boom explicitly. I just would need to imply it so that it is clear that I'm saying I don't know if it's smoking or exercise. All right. Number 2, the university appearance. So for this one, I've got the first thing is I've got these people going to a football game, and I'm saying I'm getting the first 500 people. So you're going to say, you're going to pick a side. This is the side I picked. If you pick the other side that you said they are likely, I said they're not likely. If you pick the side that say they are likely and you come up with something reasonable and your statistical evidence is sound, then you're going to get the credit for it. So this is what I did. I said the first 500 students are not likely. And the reason I said that is because, or not represented, excuse me, not likely to be represented. The reason I said that is because the first 500 students, they might have more school spirit, which means they've got a better attitude about the school, more positive opinions. So they're going to have a bias in toward a favoring. Guys, you could go the opposite. You could say are not likely to represent of the population. You could say because the first 500 students are only sports fans and they only care about sports, and so they might have a really negative view on the appearance of the university because they want to put more money into the athletic program. So you could come up with that, completely opposite what I said, but still 100% correct. You could get a right answer if you said are likely to be represented in the population, if you connected why they would be represented in the population. Why would this be? You could say, well, if it does tell you there's 70,000 students, so you would have to be a little bit of a stretch. I haven't seen one yet, but if you come up with something that you say are likely, and you give me, if you are able to say that these 500 people are represented of the population, and tell me why you think they're representative of that 70,000 population, then you'll get all the credit here. If not, you'll have to have some partial. Okay, and the second one wants you to go ahead and do a simple random sample. So you need to assign the numbers to a student's names, and then you could use an RNG, which is a random number generator, or numbers in a hat shaken. If they don't say shaken, you need to only give them half a point. So numbers in a hat's half a point. A random number table. Of course, if they say the random number table, they're going to have to go from 00000 to 69999. Or 0001 to 70,000, and then ignore the others, of course. And so they'd say ignore others. So random number generator is just a little bit easier to put. So they'd ignore 70,000 to 99999. So those would all be necessary if they mentioned random number table. They do need to say without replacement, or there's no repeats, or they could say unique number, or everyone different, something that tells you that if you get the number 54 twice, that's not going to work, because 54 represents a person, and you're only looking for 500 people. You need 500 people exactly. So if I do number 54 and then number 54, I'm short a person. So you have to ignore the second time you see that number. And then the 500 people that you got 500 people, and that's going to be part of your survey. This does not have to be said explicitly. It just needs to be implied that you understand that reading their answer, that there's 500 people that are chosen, and those are the people that are going to be part of your study. The last one, if basically you need to say, if one of the campuses, if there's more variability by varying by campus versus varying by gender, then it would be advantageous to stratify by campus. Meaning you have campus 1, and let's say it's very, very, very pretty, and campus 2 is very ugly. Okay? And then you have girls and boys. There's girls and boys here, right? And you have girls and boys at both places. And if you stratify by gender, meaning put the males in one and females in another, most likely both males and females are going to think this is ugly and this is nice. But if you stratify by campus, you're going to be able to see, okay, that would be variability, because if I had all the campuses together, then goodness gracious, this one's nice, and then I'll be able to tell about the niceness of it, how nice it is, or the specifically, and if this is not nice, I'll be able to specifically tell what's going on with this one, and I can compare it to itself. At the end, I gave everybody 4 free points because there's only 19 blanks, and I want 23 points because my other classes have 23 points on here, and it just changes the grade just slightly. So if you could make sure you add those points. So if they got, for instance, 18 correct, they'd be 18 plus 4, 18 blanks. If they just, let's say they missed that one, right? Then they should have a 22 out of 23. Please put the percentage. Please make sure that then you check and make sure that your blanks reconcile to the second grader's blanks, meaning if I marked this one wrong and I got an 18 out of 22, right? And then plus the 4. So a 22 out of 23. But they marked this one right, but marked this one wrong. Please check, because that could be a 21 out of 23 or a 23 out of 23. Please make sure all your blanks are correct and make sure you turn it in after that. All right, I appreciate you listening, and have a wonderful day.